Britain woke up to the enemy last summer. 3 of the 4 London bombers were homegrown. It was lads from Leeds who killed 52 people.
Let no one be in any doubt, the rules of the game are changing.
So what created the enemy within? Well, here in Britain and across Europe, many say multiculturalism is to blame. Nice ideas around diversity and tolerance have allowed Islamic communities to stay separate. And that separateness is creating a breeding ground for extremism. Across the street from Parliament is a reminder. This is a country in conflict with Muslims, abroad and at home.
Asylum rights are human rights! Asylum rights are human rights!
So now diversity be damned. Integration is the new buzzword across Europe. Not just the extremists, but for all Muslims. I set out with my Canadian ideals to see if this is in our future. Maybe multiculturalism is just a nice idea for people who haven't been bombed yet. My first stop, Parliament, where one Labour MP says the time for political correctness is over.
They don't have any understanding of what Britishness is.
Anne Cryer's campaign to make Muslims fit in starts with the imams. She wants to force them to be educated in British values. You know, things like equal rights.
And there on my own doorstep, I found women being treated as women used to be treated, as a chattel in Victorian times.
They don't want to modernize like other communities.
Well, I suppose
they want to keep their ways.
Yeah, but when those cultural differences start to impinge on the human rights of the most vulnerable members of that community, then somebody has to shout about it. And you've got to say, this is wrong.
So you may not like how they live, but you can't pick and choose the parts of the Muslim community you like or the parts of the Muslim culture. You accept it as it is.
Well, I'm afraid I do. I do disagree. I have a very fundamental disagreement with that, and I've just explained why.
Cryer says Muslims have been allowed to live in their own world, and that's threatening to change Britain.
The next station is Bradford Forster Square.
I went to see for myself. Keighley is a riding. 2.5 hours north of London, it has one of the highest concentrations of Muslims in Britain, a town deeply divided. I went to a madrasa, an Islamic after-school program.
So this is all British history.
British history. And who's this?
Henry VIII.
Henry VIII? What do you think of Henry VIII?
He's fat.
He's fat. They're learning British history, but Islamic values, and this is seen as part of the problem. The girls all wear headscarves, and the boys are in a separate room studying the Quran. The men who run the madrasa say they're as British as they want to be.
Define Britishness for me. I haven't seen in my 30 years, I haven't seen a definition that I can sign up to.
I don't agree with a lot of things the non-Muslim people do in our communities. You know, I think that I might think, you know, morally they're wrong. You know, the breakup of family, the breakup of social structure. You know, if a woman's working and she's so much into her career that she doesn't have time to run her family, I think that's wrong.
30 years ago, Muslims from Pakistan and Bangladesh were just cheap labor for the cotton mills. Happy to be here, happy to work. But the mills closed and the cheap labor stayed. The typical immigrant story in Britain, except instead of fitting in, these Muslims seem to be digging in. That became pretty obvious when I hit this Muslim neighborhood and drew a crowd. Apparently, not a lot of white people come here. Did they ever come looking for trouble?
Here?
Yeah.
Not here. They wouldn't dare come in here.
Why wouldn't they come here?
Because it's not worth it for them, you get me? There's only one entrance, and then there's no way out. Yeah.
Harim Islam has no interest in integrating. Do you think you're accepted as British by a lot of people here?
I couldn't care less. Seriously, I couldn't care less.
Really?
We like to be close together as a community. Feels like, you know, Pakistan, where they come from.
But,
That's why
you're
they all
not
go
in
together.
Pakistan
I know,
anymore.
we're not
You're in Britain.
But if you like something, traditions, it's a tradition to live together close by.
The fact that you live here, the fact that you've got properties, the things that make you happy are the things that piss them off.
Fair enough, when our parents come over here, they came over with nothing. I say to my English friends, I say is the way we're working hard. And in another couple of years, when our kids grow up, there will be a threat.
This is the threat. The Muslims of Keighley are growing in numbers, growing in power. But what's also growing in Keighley is an anti-Islamic, anti-immigration group called the BNP, the British National Party. It's caught the eye of the English Rose.
It's not the town that I grew up in. It's one of the most racist towns in Britain. It's Keighley.
This is Rose Thompson, and Keighley, well, it's her castle. The town councillor and honorary mayoress stays at home with her fairies and her unicorns, rather than face the Muslim kids who spit on her and call her names.
Well, I don't really swear, but they were calling me a white bitch.
What's happened to your town, Rose?
It's died. We live in the ghost.
And then this nice lady did something nice ladies don't do. She joined the BNP. That's when she was asked to step down as the mayoress. But the BNP has been characterized by many people who aren't members as being a racist, fascist organization.
I know, I'm branded that now, but how can they brand me that? I were in the communities for 20 years, you know, with childcare and looking after the elderly, and I'm not racist. I've never been racist. I have coloured mates. Well, I don't know if I have now. I haven't seen them.
Racist? I don't know. She seems more scared than scary, looking out on her balcony, lost in her own town.
All them houses there, that's the Asians. And down there's a big mosque growing. Can you see it?
With the green roof?
Yeah.
Is that a new mosque that they're building?
Yeah, they're building it, yeah.
This is mosque number 8 and counting. But Rose isn't alone. In a parallel universe, 10 minutes down the road, pints, not prayers, guide these BNP supporters. The party called the recent municipal elections a referendum on Islam. They doubled the number of their seats across the country. I've come to talk with Chris Kirby, a BNP town councillor, about the end of multiculturalism.
I think we'll just become an Islamic state, and it'll go into turmoil, I think. It'll become uncomfortable, it'll become a dangerous, dirty, mucky country.
Do you really believe that?
Yes, yeah.
But in Canada, we believe in this idea of multiculturalism. You know, we can all live together and love thy neighbour.
Well, I think we believed in it, but I think things are changing. You know, people have just had enough. They don't want to embrace our culture. If anything, they want to insult our culture. We're a Christian country. This is our culture, and we just want to preserve it. If you're a racist wanting to preserve your culture, then I'm sorry, I'm a racist.
It's just not the Britain we think we knew.
No, it's not.
Wow, I'm getting a picture of a part of Britain that's scared, angry, and desperate, just like this neighborhood. Perfect BNP stomping grounds. You're attracting a lot of young people?
We're attracting young people, and you know that these people are like 15-year-old, and you know, once they get to voting age.
Why are you appealing to a 15-year-old?
Ask them. They're here, look. I see his kids here. If you want. Shall we go down and ask him?
Sure. So we did. A cluster of teenage boys clutching cans of beer came out to meet us when they heard the BNP was here.
Well, we're here from Canada, and we're just looking at relationships between the Asian community and the people in Keighley. Yeah. And I mean, some of them had told us that this was a no-go zone for Asian kids.
Asian, I'm not surprised. No chance up here.
No?
This is our area, this, do you know what I mean? How we feel, this is our area, isn't it? We don't like Pakistanis, we don't like
Why not?
So Pakis.
Try to take over this country, that's why.
And all this suicide bombing and all that, it's just not right. Yeah.
Coming into our country and all this bombing and stuff.
That's what you see them as being? Suicide bombers?
Well,
Pakistanis?
Some of them.
Yeah, most of them, yeah.
What do you think of the BNP?
Well, I think they're doing a good job, me.
It's about time something like this happened, to get them all, well, not them all out, but Most of like refugees and shit like that. It's not right.
You know, this is the future, you know.
If this is the future, though, I'm a little worried about your future.
Oh, yeah. If we don't stand up for them, and if anyone don't stand up for them, what future have they got?
And just when I thought things couldn't get any creepier, the BNP gave me this CD.
We are getting one last chance. Stop immigration's deadly dance.
Sounds like multiculturalism's funeral march. I guess 30 years of living together has torn them apart. But this is just the beginning. The BNP is still a fringe party. Imagine if people with ideas like that had power. Amsterdam. It's more than a city. It's a state of mind. A place where everything's okay. Gay marriage, euthanasia, no problem. You want to sell and smoke pot out in the open? That's okay too. Window shopping for sex, anybody? Come on, join the crowd. Holland is proud of its in-your-face tolerance. I'm here because the Dutch are now fighting to keep it that way. The battleground is here in The Hague, in Parliament.
In this small country, we have 100,000 to 150,000 of Muslims who do not like us at all, who do not like the kind of society we are, who are filled with resentment and hate against Western society.
Whoa. It's no surprise Bart-Jan Sprout is forming a new anti-immigration political party. His target? Muslims.
We have to force them to integrate into Dutch society, or we cannot subsidize our own enemies. That's a problem.
And you see them as enemies?
I do not see them as enemies. They have proclaimed themselves as enemies of our society. And you know how to treat enemies. You've got to be a bit ruthless.
I can only...
You're astonished.
I am astonished.
Now, that's the problem with Canada, I think. You can be kind and liberal and multicultural, but in the end you will have to realize that it doesn't work. And that you will be threatened by an enemy which you cherish within your own society.
Holland's harsh. I'm wondering, what happened? Well, I'm told it began when the Dutch learned in a generation or so Muslims will be the majority in most cities here. A people with a different language, culture, and values could one day rule the Netherlands. Well, that's democracy, right? Well, for Theo van Gogh, that was a problem. He made this film Submission, one of his many public attacks of Islam, which he called repressive, undemocratic, and simply un-Dutch.
Life with my husband is hard to bear, but I submit my will to you.
The radical response? He was shot 8 times and butchered with a fillet knife by a Dutch Muslim, Mohammed Bouyeri, the enemy within. This was Holland's 9/11. And this is the political response. Rita Verdonk, prison warden turned Minister of Immigration and Integration. She's told Muslims, embrace Dutch values, speak Dutch in public, commit a crime, even shoplifting, and you'll be sent packing. Then she deported 26,000 refugees, mostly Muslims, to prove she meant business. Well, check out the crowd. She's one of Holland's most popular politicians. But check out the security. She's also the target of death threats from radical Muslims. I wanted to meet her.
Question from Canada, please. Just one in English.
She agreed to meet me in a safe room backstage. I wasn't used to such security. Then again, I'm not used to a place where fellow citizens are called the enemy.
What I want to know is, are you saying what the average person here in Holland is thinking?
Yes, I think so. I think last 20 years it wasn't possible in the Netherlands to talk about topics, and especially on immigration and integration topics. We were a little bit naive. We thought, let everybody come to the Netherlands and everything will be all right. People will integrate, etc. Will learn the language. That has not happened.
Well, maybe now it will.
Moving to another country with another language and another culture is a huge step. It means leaving behind much of what you hold dear.
This is a video Verdonk ordered for would-be immigrants. The message is clear. If you've got a problem with a little public nudity, gay marriage, or separation of church and state,
there is no state religion. There is freedom of religion.
Then don't come here.
Women and men have the right.
Oh, and if you're okay with female genital mutilation and honor killings,
a man beats a woman because, according to him, she has behaved like a whore.
Then don't come here either. Got it? You better, because to get in, you also have to pass a Dutch values test, in Dutch, of course.
That's also why you're not allowed to do the exam wearing a heavy veil, because, of course, something could be hidden there. No.
Wow, I guess if you want to live here, you'll need to check your hijab at the door. I went to a Muslim neighborhood to find out if it's true, if they really don't want to fit in. First thing I see, satellite dishes. Everywhere, a symbol of disintegration. People here don't get their news and views from Amsterdam. They get it from Al Jazeera. First guy I met was this fish shop owner, and he surprised me. For 30 years, he thought he was Dutch. Since Theo van Gogh's murder, he's been told he's an outsider. In a country where they're not making you feel welcome, where people look at you like you're a threat or a terrorist or an enemy, why would you stay?
Ja, ik heb het antwoord al gegeven, of zal ik het nog een keer geven?
Ja, nog een keer.
Ja?
He said when he goes back to Morocco, he has nothing. He doesn't even write or read the Arabic language. So he has to start all over again. Why should he? It is his country too.
Well, he may call it home, but a recent poll found that half the people in Holland have an aversion to Muslims, and 2/3 feel the faith is at odds with modern life in Europe.
I think I'm an integrated immigrant. I'm born here, my parents are from Morocco, I work, I pay my taxes, I speak Dutch fluently, I speak a little bit of English, I speak French, I don't have any problems with the law or justice, so what do you want from me more than what I do right now, you know?
Well, they know they'll never be as Dutch as these guys 2 doors down, drinking Heinekens in front of a fake Rembrandt. So if this is about integration, why is Holland more divided than ever? I need someone to bridge the divide, so I went to see Fatima Aladik, Muslim/politician, and fired up about both.
Is it a Moroccan problem or is it a Dutch problem?
She blames Verdonk for using Muslims to win white votes. She's so mad she can barely keep her headscarf tied.
I'm so emotional. Why the hell do I have to explain everything in society? Every time some Muslim does something bad, I have to go out and say, we are so sorry that Mohammed Bey killed Theo van Gogh. And who the hell is Mohammed Bey to me? He's not my brother, he's not my friend, he's not my father, I don't know the guy.
But people will say because he killed he killed Theo van Gogh for religious reasons.
So?
And because there is strong faith within the Muslim community, that there must be some link there, that these are people who...
But this is wrong. This is crazy. This is a wrong link. I'm a Muslim individual and I pray or not pray, I practice or I not practice. Well, you should care less. What you should care about is if am I able to look you in the eye and talk to you as a human being? You should care less if I'm a Muslim. You know why you should care less? Because it's not the only thing that defines who I am.
As long as the government pushes this policy of saying we've got to do something about the Muslim community, I mean, what is it doing to the Muslim community?
We create our own enemies within our own community. This is what we do. We create our own problems.
Aladik says Holland does have a problem with its Muslims. They're poor, jobless, and ghettoized, just like Mohammed Bouyeri, the man who triggered the backlash, the Dutch-born, Dutch-speaking, Dutch-educated murderer of Theo van Gogh. What radicalized him, Islam or Holland? I couldn't ask Van Gogh, so I asked his best friend, Gijs van der Westerlagen.
They marginalize themselves, and we are marginalizing them.
And that's only going to create more problems.
Absolutely.
I can only imagine.
Absolutely. This will not be the last murder. This will not be the last terrorist attack. There'll be more. This year, next year, whatever.
That's frightening.
Yeah. But it's inevitable.
If it is inevitable, then that leaves everyone wondering, who's next? And that fear changes the way you see the world, changes the way guys like Rees see a Muslim dressed in a burqa.
What's frightening about that?
Because it's a demonstration of isolation. It's a demonstration of, look, I absolutely do not want to belong to this country, this culture, this democracy.
Well, he may see defiance. I thought it was a symbol of religious devotion. Still, more than a dozen countries, including Holland, have talked about banning the burqa. The lesson I've learned here is that fear can lead good people to radical ideas, even in a liberal democracy. Imagine that, Canada. Well, I had to talk to the guy behind Holland's ban, MP Geert Wilders. And imagine this. He's got so many death threats, he goes everywhere with bodyguards, even inside Parliament.
Fortunately, a few months ago, my parliament accepted a motion of mine saying that the burqa should be banned for public life. And the aim is that we want to integrate Islamic women. And if you wear a burqa in Holland today, you will not get a job. You will not get Dutch friends. It's a big no to Dutch society and the independence.
That's racism.
It's not racism. How
sure
come?
It's racism.
It was a motion accepted by a majority of a democratic country. How can it be racism?
You say to me, you don't want the people in Holland to lose their tolerance.
Yes.
You've lost your tolerance.
No, I have not lost my tolerance at all. I believe that if we want to prevail, if we want to keep our tolerance, once again, we should finally, after decades of ignorant policy, learn to be intolerant, and if we do that, we can keep our tolerance.
I'm shocked as a Canadian to hear this level of debate in a liberal democracy like Holland. To hear the hard line that just sounds normal.
Yeah. Come on, I mean, this is ridiculous that I'm even defending myself today against to you. If you are shocked, it's good that you were here. I hope that a lot of people more in Canada will know the reality in the Netherlands today. And if you are shocked, so be it. I'm sorry.
But unlike Holland or Britain, Canada's born of multiculturalism. We have a different history, and that should ensure a different future, right? Then again, until a week ago, we never imagined our national narrative could include a chapter on the enemy within. Mark Kelly, CBC News, Amsterdam.